Hello and welcome to this video where we'll be spending some time together learning about how transfer orders can bring value to your organization when you need to move assets from one location to the other in our online asset management solution Hector. So the first thing you need in order to perform transfer orders in Hector is you need to have the operations module. The operations module will unlock purchase orders, transfer orders, as well as work orders. And within the resources section, it will unlock customers, vendors, and contacts. Lastly, in the settings section, if we navigate to the operations menu, we'll see that we can come in and set different configurations for our purchase orders, transfer orders, and work orders. If we take a look at transfer orders, we can see that when we create transfer orders, we can set a prefix, we can specify a number range which will start our transfer order numbering sequence at that specific moment. We can decide if we want to manage using an expected delivery date or not, and we can also select a default source for our transfer orders, meaning you could choose that transfer orders only originate out of one specific stockroom for your assets. Within the transfer orders, we can also set up an approval process where we'll require transfer orders to be approved before they can head out. We'll also be specifying any groups that we might have for our approvers. And again, groups can be managed from the resources groups section. Then you can also receive notifications. So any requests for approval, the approval confirmation or rejection, any change in ownership, if we need to notify the transfer order creator that an event has happened on his transfer order or her transfer order, as well as people want to be informed when the transfer order has been delivered. And then finally, we can define if some of our fields will be checked on or off by default, and if should we have a barcode or a QR code on our transfer order form. And lastly, the column layout of our different fields in the transfer orders section. Once you've set up your transfer orders, you can navigate to operations transfer orders and start to create some transfer orders where you'll be moving assets from location A to location B. So let's take a look at what a transfer order looks like, and then we'll walk through the menu together. So if I create a new transfer order, the first thing I must do is choose a destination. Where am I transferring my inventory or my assets to? So I could be moving assets to another stockroom, I could be moving assets to a user, a place, a customer, a vendor, a contact. In this example, let's just move some inventory to a specific user, and we'll see how Hector reacts to moving that inventory. So we'll move some inventory to Bob's stand. Once we've moved inventory to Bob, we can set an owner for a transfer order. By default, Hector will select the person that's connected, and we can choose somebody that's going to be receiving the transfer order. So there's obviously, when you're moving assets from one location to the other, it's not always the same person that's going to be doing the shipment and doing the delivery or receiving the assets on the other side. We can set an expected delivery date, so we can expect that our assets will be delivered next week at 9 a.m. Can set a priority, enter some description, some instructions, be careful, equipment is fragile. We can add any documents that we feel might help people understand what the transfer order is about, and then we could quickly add assets or add assets through our pop-up that we have here. So we could choose specific category and transfer some costumes, for example, from one specific asset or one location to the other. So in this case, let's get some pirate costumes, and then we see that we have 5 costumes in inventory, so we can choose to move all 5 towards that specific resource. We can save in new if we want to add more lines to our transfer order. So for example, I could come in and choose to move some microphones as well as my costumes, and then select a specific microphone that I'm looking to move towards my user. When I'm all done, I can click Save and Close, and we'll be populating our list of lines based on what we've added. If my transfer order is complete, I can click Save in View or Save in List. If I click Save in View, we're going to see that we're going to have a display where we see the details of our transfer order with everything that we filled in, as well as a history tab showing the different steps of the transfer order throughout its life cycle. I can perform some actions on the transfer order itself, or I can head out to the transfer order section and move the transfer order in between the different phases of its life cycle. So let's take a few moments to talk about the life cycle of a transfer order. When a transfer order is born, it's in a draft mode. If you have approval set up, the next stage that they're going to take is a pending approval stage. Then when they're approved, they'll move on to being new transfer orders. So they've been approved, they're ready to go. When the transfer order has been picked up or shipped out or prepared by a member of your team, they're going to become in progress. If ever the delivery date is reached and the transfer order still hasn't been delivered, it will become late. However, if you've delivered on time, then it will become delivered, and then you have the option, when it's been delivered, do a quality check. If everything is okay, you go in and you close out your transfer order. So let's do the first step together. Let's submit for approval. So when we submit for approval, any of our approvers will have received an approval email asking them to approve this specific transfer order. They can come in and either approve, reject, change the owner. They can even delete or view the transfer order in question. If we go in and approve the transfer order, we can write a message to the person who created the transfer order, or leave it blank and simply save. If we have notifications set up, you'll see that the owner of the transfer order will receive an email letting them know that their transfer order has been approved. Once we're ready, we can of course change the ownership, but once it's been approved, we can also set our transfer order as being in progress. We could print out the transfer order on a form with the details. We could also email this transfer order to the owner and the recipient. So if we want them to have a copy within their mailbox, we could do that as well. If we set it to in progress, the first thing you'll notice here is that we can do an inventory verification step right before we perform our transfer order, where we can indicate if any of the quantities changed in between the time we created the transfer order and the time that we send it out. We can come in here and adjust those quantities, or even identify that a specific equipment is missing or present within the inventory. If you have barcode scanners and you're within your warehouse, you could even come in and scan the items individually to make sure that they're present within your environment. So you could come in here, scan your asset tag or your part ID, and then click go, and it's going to automatically flag them as being present. And then we could write a message, and when we're ready, we save. So now what's happening in real life is this transfer order is in the process of being moved from our original location, which was our stock room, to the recipient, who's Bob Smith in this specific case. Once we've moved the inventory to Bob and it's ready to be received, we would deliver the transfer order. So if we click on deliver the transfer order, we have essentially the same screen as before, but the actions have changed. We can deliver, cancel, or consume. So deliver will essentially move the inventory from its previous location to the new location, in our case being Bob Smith. If we cancel out this item, it's going to cancel the move, and it's going to return the pirate costumes to their original location. And if we consume, it's going to move the assets to their new location, and then it's going to perform a consumption of those very same assets. So let's keep delivery for the purposes of this demo and click Save. So now that our assets have been moved, we'll take a look at Bob Smith's inventory so that we can see that the assets have been moved from their original location to our user, who is Bob Smith. So if we come in Bob Smith's user card, so once we're on the user's card, we'll see that the assets have been delivered to this user. So we see that our microphone as well as our pirate costumes have all been delivered to Bob. And we'll also see that we have a transfer order here and a list of the history of all the transfer orders that are currently logged against Bob. So we have tracking of all the asset movements or transfer orders through time that we can see here within the user's specific section. So once that transfer order has been delivered, we can set it as being closed, which will essentially remove it from the list of open transfer orders. So we've essentially accomplished the task of moving assets from location A to location B, and Hector is going to keep track of this throughout time. So we'll always know when was the asset moved from one location to the other. So I hope you guys appreciated this demonstration of transfer orders. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team if you would like a more in-depth demonstration or have questions about how you can set up this for your organization. And if you've enjoyed this video, please click on the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for watching, and see you guys soon.